Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Bintang Sajidan. So today I'm gonna show you about uh, how to analyze informative text and expressive text. So the first one is gonna be first is informative text. That I will take this text from the text.com. The title is Pemprov Banten bangun jalan desa pakai beton, minta tak dirusak truk overload. So in this text, like Serang Gubernur Banten Andra Soni menyebut Pemprov Banten telah membangun jalan desa dengan menggunakan materi beton agar lebih kuat, bla 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 bla. And with the English version is Banten provincial government builds the concrete village roads urges against the damage by overload trucks. That is the title. You can see this like a Banten governor Andrasoni started to that the Banten provincial government has constructed village roads using concrete material to ensure higher durability. So I want to tell you about explanation of translation technique use. To bridge the linguistic and cultural gaps between Indonesian and English, several specific translation strategies were applied, but the first is transposition, shift of category. Indonesian often relies heavily on verb on or conquest phrase structure that require grammatical shift to sound natural in English. For example, the headline phrase "bangun jalan desa pakai beton" was translated using a passive participle modifier, "Police concrete village roads." Similarly, mempermudah kehidupan masyarakat was transposed to significantly improve public life to align with our journalistic English standards. The second is borrowing with couplets, equivalence, and explanation. Culturally specific institutional terms like puskesmas and DPRD cannot be translated literally without losing context or clarity. A couplet strategy was used, translating the functional meaning into English while retaining the original term in italic for local text. The third is modulation or change in perspective. In a quote, kalau habis panen biasanya dipikul, a literal translation would be it finishes harvest usually carried on shoulder. To make it grammatically sound and clear in English, the perspective was modulated to standard active plural format. Like after harvest, we usually had carried crops on our shoulder. And the last is proper noun consistency. Administrative division unique to Indonesia, desa, kecamatan, or kabupaten, were consistently mapped to their close English journalistic equivalents, like village, subdistrict, and regency, to maintain formal reporting standard. So we're gonna move to analysis of meaning quality preservation. Maintaining the balance between semantic accuracy through to the original meaning and communicative clarity was the primary objective of this translation. In Indonesia, Journalistic writing sentence frequently omit formal subject when the context implies them, which is a structural feature un- un- uncapable in English by introducing appropriate subjects and pronouns. Translation prevent ambiguity. Furthermore, vocabulary choice, choices were elevated to match English news conversation. For example, jalan yang baik was translated as high quality roads or good roads, depending on context, and umur layanan was precisely translated to into the technical infrastructure from service life. This choice preserved the intent of Governor Andrasoni's speech while ensuring the text reads as professional informative news report. So move to the text 2 is about expressive text translation like a poetry or literature. So I check about the poetry. Title is Hujan Bulan Juni by Sapardi Djoko Damono, and this is about the short text. Hujan bulan Juni. Tak ada yang lebih tabah dari hujan bulan Juni. Dirahasiakannya rintik rindunya kepada pohon berbunga itu. Tak ada yang lebih bijak dari hujan bulan Juni. Dihapusnya jejak-jejak kakinya yang ragu-ragu di jalan itu. Tak ada yang lebih arif dari hujan bulan Juni. Dibiarkannya yang tak terucapkan diserap akar pohon bunga itu. Sapardi Djoko Damono. And it is about the English translation version. The rain in June. Nothing is more resilient than the rain in June. It holds secret its yearning droplets from that flowering tree. Nothing is more wise than the rain in June. It erases its own footprints that hesitate along the path. Nothing is more disconcerting than the rain in June. It leaves that remains unspoken to be absorbed by roots of that flowering tree. So that's the about uh, short text and English translation version. So let's move to the next. It's about justification for translation choice. Wait. Translating expressive text demand a shift from literal accuracy to aesthetic equivalence. The goal the goal is to evoke the same quiet, melancholic, restraining English that Sapardi achieved in narration. First is modulation. The word tabah is traditionally translated as patent or enduring. However, patent feels too passive for the relentless nature of rain. The choice of silence to capture the internal strains of the rain, holding back in longing without breaking. The second is transposition. In the third line, dirahasiakan rintik rindunya, with a passive pronominal in Indonesian structure that relies heavily on soft. A constant sound of the suffix-nya, a literal translation is longing droplets are kept secret by it. Rinse the cadence it was transposed to the active voice. It holds secret its yearning doublets, which preserves the quiet imagery and lyrical flow. Next, about the lexical composition for tune. for the words bijak on stanza 2 and arif and stanza 3, Indonesian draws a subtle distinction between everyday wisdom and a deeper spiritual enlightenment. To mirror this progression in English, bijak was translated as wise, while arif was elevated to discerning, capturing a sense of profound quiet understanding. The last is aesthetic preservation of imagery. In the final stanza, dibiarkan yang tetap terucapkan was redundant as it left what remains unspoken. This choice maintains the self is as sibilance of the original line, dibiarkan atau tak terucapkan, which mimics the gentle whispering sound of falling rain. Number 3 is so the next is about number 3 is this question of challenge in literature translation. The primary challenge in translating Hujan Bulan Juni lies in preserving its intense emotional undercurrent, which is built on a foundation of brevity, cultural context, and minimalist grammar. The first is the economy of language. Indonesian is an exceptionally complex language that does not require explicit tense or article. The press of pohon berbunga itu flow seamlessly with the soft rhythmic points in English. Specific structural elements like the flowering tree can easily feel flunky. The challenge was maintaining Sapardi minimalist constraints, adding too many filler words to satisfy standard English grammar risks suffocating the poem breathing room. The second is the burden of untranslatable alliteration. Sapardi mastery relies heavily on the musicality of Indonesian words. The line dirahasiakan detik Indonya is an absolute masterpiece of internal rhyme and alliteration. Balancing the soft R and N sounds, English lacks a direct equivalent where the words for secret, raindrops, and longing or yearning share phonetic roots. The pronunciation compensates for this loss of R alteration by introducing a rhythmic meter and subtle S and T consonant to restore a sense of musicality. And the last, about capturing the subtle melancholy. In Indonesian culture, unexpressed longing rindu, carried with the patent taba, is viewed as a deeply poetic, noble state of being. The rain is personified as a lover who chooses silence over disruption, letting his feeling be quietly absorbed by the earth, conveying this specific flavor of bittersweet understand romanticism in English, without veering into overly dramatic or tragic vocabulary. Requires strict emotional discipline for the translator. The English words must remain as quiet, gentle, and unversed as the June rain itself. So, it's gonna be end for my video. So, goodbye everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.